in a very long time. How about it? Coach K, usually playing right around now, but an odd year, and he says hello. Coach, it is an absolute pleasure. Nice to chat again. How are you, pal? Okay?
Yeah, yeah, we're good. Obviously, would love to be playing and love to have earned the right to play. And and this tournament's unbelievable. It's the fairest tournament of any, and it's tough to get in. Only 19% of the teams in Division One get in, and we've been in it a lot, and but we're not in it this year, so it makes you appreciate it even more.
Good job there, Coach. I'm going to tell you what I've been doing here about an NCAA podcast. I want to get a couple thoughts on that first. But let me ask you, at the end of the year, did you think that your team had won two in a row? You had played well at Georgia Tech. I was paying attention. I was hoping you would get in, and you won the two games in the tournament. You killed BC. You beat Louisville, and then the game got canceled. Did you think you had two more wins in you?
Well, yeah, we would have loved to have had the opportunity to play Florida State. That would have been a heck of a challenge, but Chris, we did not have a positive case all year since 1 August when our kids came in, and they did an unbelievable job. And then to get that, and that's a heartbreaking way of ending. Who knows what would have happened, but everybody would have loved to. Anyone in that position would have loved to have had the chance to play it out. And if you got beat, then you definitely didn't deserve to be in. But if we had won that next game, we would have had a chance. And
Yes.
But that's, and maybe we lose the next one and then lose that chance. It was we had lost. We were in, like, say, 10 really close games where one possession in the last minute or so, really determined a win or a loss. And we only won 3 of those. And now we could have lost all of them. But if it really comes down to that for a lot of teams. And we've not been in that position much because we've usually won a lot. And then we usually win those close games. But this year we didn't, and so you have to earn it. This is not inherited wealth, or you can't pass it along. You got to earn it every year, and that's what makes the tournament so great. And it also, a lot of people think that the tournament just starts with the 68 teams. The tournament starts when all the conference tournament starts, because all those teams, a lot of the one bid leagues. That's part of the tournament, and so there's amazing interest, amazing enthusiasm. I'm glad there is a tournament, and it's kind of incredible how it's gone along with so many double-digit seeds, and what the Pac-12 has done in the tournament has been unbelievable.
Yep. We'll get to a couple of your teams here, too. Explain Illinois for me. I mean, they looked so good, played so well. Now, they got a bad break because Loyola was not an 8th seed.
Yeah,
we all know that.
Loyola's
They got a
good,
bad
yeah.
break. But Mike, they were completely, they were really just out of sorts on that game on Sunday. And this is a team that looked like, maybe they could compete with Gonzaga at the end of the day. Now, they get stale. What happened to the Illini there this past weekend?
Well, I think we played them early in the season, and they were just a lot better than us and really athletic. Brad does an unbelievable job with his team. The Big Ten, a number of their teams, 8 out of the 9 have lost, and they're good. I mean, they had a great year. Some people have said maybe they beat each other up too much, and that you could, that happened. I really think something probably to look at too is, they played their conference tournament in Indianapolis, and so they didn't. No one changed venue. You know what I mean? They changed maybe the place where you play, but the Big Ten teams were in Indianapolis
Good
already.
Point. Excellent point. Yes.
So when you start the tournament, there's something about getting to the place where there is the tournament instead of, it's already a pretty tough environment, and if you're there too long, it could wear on you. And I'm a big guy about environment and all that. And when I coached the U.S. team for those 11 years, we spent a lot of time making sure there's a certain way a meeting room should be, a certain amount of light, a certain environment.
You want some freshness. Yeah, you want some freshness. And maybe there was no freshness for the Big Ten. I hadn't thought of that. And
that's what and God bless those teams. They for us for the college basketball fan throughout the year, the Big Ten was the best conference. I mean, they had good games. Seemed like every other day. There was a big time matchup. So I don't think they should be judged by the fact that although Michigan's terrific, they could win the whole thing. But most people expected more Big Ten teams to be in this Sweet 16.
I certainly did. I had Illinois winning the whole darn thing, so that tells you what I know. But I hadn't thought of the Indianapolis thing in there a long time. And we talked to Peichel and a lot of these coaches, and I hadn't thought of that, and that's an excellent, excellent point. I think there's something to it. All right, explain Boeheim. I know he's your best friend, and what a job they've done in 2 games. But I didn't know Buddy Boeheim was this good, the kid. His shooting has been superb. Go ahead. Give me a little rundown on that.
Well, I think right now, and I haven't watched every game, but I've watched a lot of games. And, Buddy's, I think, been the best player in the tournament. And, when Jim goes from one thing to another real quick. So his regular season, he has said he wasn't happy with it. But they did play well during the regular season. They didn't do it consistently. And so he gets on to the next thing real quick, and he has a unique system, with the zone. And I saw it right away in their first game. They were playing with amazing enthusiasm, and they don't let the past bother them once they get into the tournament. They're not making up for anything or whatever. And that's why he's one of the great coaches of all time in college basketball. And that's why I wanted him next to me for those 11 years with the U.S. team. He's that good. He's never really gotten the credit that I get, and some of us get, and but he's right on top of it, and I love him and love his family.
All right, that's number one, and that's a good one on Boeheim. You've been in this situation before, the coach who's done everything but win a title, so you know what that pressure is. I know you don't like to talk about that too much, but you have had that first part of your career. You lost a lot of close games before you finally beat Vegas. And then you beat Kansas to win your title, your first one. Tell me what Mark Few's going through right now. Now, I mean, I think he's got to win. You're going to say, Chris, come on, this is a one-and-done thing. That's not fair. But you know me, I'm looking at it as a sports fan. So I think, you've been there 20 years. One of these years, you got to come out and win a championship. They got a hell of a team. They got a great freshman. And I think they had an easy bracket. So a lot of pressure on Few. You've dealt with that on a game-to-game basis. Let me hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, Mark and I are really good friends, and I like his approach. His team's fresh. Again, their league is good. It's not the Big Ten, but it's good. So they haven't been beaten up, and they're healthy, and they really are amazingly explosive offensively. And Mark has always been about don't let the moment get too big and whatever. And that's worked for him up to that point that you're talking about. And so I think after going through all the experiences he's had in the tournament, this is the time that he's going to do it. And when they do it, it's probably not going to be the last time he does it. And that's that last bridge that you get over, getting to the Final Four is the promised land, but winning the national championship is another iteration. And you got a penthouse in the promised land, let's put it that way. And I think this is his best team, and it's Kispert's amazing. Tim is unbelievable. They have great guard play. They have depth. They're healthy. I don't think the moment is going to be too big for this team. I think they may end up playing their best game in the national championship game. That's my feeling about them.
Wow, so you're high on Gonzaga. Good one.
Oh yeah.
You'll watch, and I'm not bringing up Oates because I know you and him had that little dialogue there. I'm bringing it up
No,
because
I never had a
style.
dialogue. I never had a dialogue with him.
He got mad. He got mad.
I had a private one because we're friends. Anyway, did some things for him when he was an assistant and as a head coach that I should have done, and so that's like.
Well, that's
Like
interesting.
that was like a ridiculous thing. Yeah.
So good for you. You picked up the phone and said, Nate, take it easy here. Because he said, well, Coach Kelly's a great team.
We had, we discussed that after he said that, and I said, look, let's move on. Let's go. Everything's good.
Everything. That's okay. Now, how about the style? I mean, the NBA sees this all the time. I mean, he wants to shoot threes or hit or layups. That's it. Nothing else. Threes or layups. Mm-hmm. And the intermediate game with Alabama, they're going to have a game where they know they're going to shoot 50 threes and make 6 of them, and they're going to lose. I don't know where that's going to be, but that's what's going to happen. You can't do that 6 games in a row. But the overall accent in basketball right now, NBA and, of course, in college, with the three-point shot, have we gotten way too past it? Would you like to see a little bit more of an intermediary game at times? What's your take on that?
Well, it just depends on the team you have. And so a lot of people now are recruiting for that. Where that's what you do, and their system is just set up. Like if you looked at offenses 10 years ago compared to offenses now, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. And that doesn't mean everybody's doing that, though, because, it's nice to say, but and try to do, but you have to have the personnel to do it. So he does, and so he's smart. It's all about you putting in a system that's best for your talent and experience. And if you get successful in something and you can recruit to it, like I think you were talked about Jim Boeheim before, I think he recruits that to in his zone length, especially bigger guards, and the wingspan of a player. And
right.
And he does that, and he's done it for years. So Nate or different coaches, they can, once they feel that's the way to do it, they'll recruit. And he's at a place where you can get a high-level player, high-level talent in whatever you're going to do, because Alabama's always had a really rich basketball tradition.
Yeah, people don't realize that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
People don't realize back in the 50s, Alabama was a hell of a team. People do not know that, Mike, about the Crimson Tide.
And throughout, really, they've been very good, and so you applaud him for having that and having the type of players and letting those players have the freedom to express themselves in that way, and it's worked out well for them so far. And then they're in an interesting bracket. They're in the Pac-12 bracket, aren't they? They're only.
They got UCLA. They got UCLA next, and then they're going to be looking at either Michigan or Florida State. So
that's if they can get past UCLA, that'll be a heck of a game, because Michigan and Florida State is a big time game. That's a big time game because
physicality. They'll be banging each other a lot in that game. A lot of men in that game, as you like to say about that South Carolina team. That one time they beat you. A lot of men in that Georgetown game, Florida State game. Tell me about from a coaching. I want to hear a little coach speak now on how good Mosier is there at Loyola Chicago.
No, he's terrific, and he was trained well. He under Rick Majerus. Rick, God bless him, was like a little bit of a guru. And you not
Oh,
only a
that's where he
great
was
coach.
from. I didn't know that. So that's where he learned
Yeah,
from. He's
yeah,
Nigerian.
yeah. That's where he started, uh, and so and he's learned, along the way, and he found the perfect position. And I don't, there's got to be something with Sister Jean too. Like
Yeah, no. She's
there's got
it's
to be
good luck
something.
charm. Something there.
She must talk to the basketball gods or something. Not just, and heck, saying the pregame prayer and giving a scouting report at the same time, and but his energy and they don't beat themselves. They're as smart a team as there is in the tournament. They're they have really good players, but their basketball IQ is as good as anybody or better than anyone's in the tournament. I think Villanova always has a really high basketball IQ. Jay does an amazing job, and they do this year. They actually, I think they're more talented than Loyola, but Loyola's got really good talent, and they don't never beat themselves, and they make effective use of their movement. And they're really a beautiful team to watch. Big time team to watch.
Yeah, both sides. I just did. I know you got to run. I just did this podcast, these 4 episodes on the NCAA tournament between 39 and 79. Now you're going to be in the next one because I'm going to do the second half of this next year, where I'll do all the games from starting ended with the Bird Magic game.
Right.
You
Wow.
name it.
Yeah.
Jerry Lucas. I did Rosenbluth on the '57 team. Larry Brown on Dean Smith. Buckner on Knight. Jerry Lucas on Ohio State. Billy Packer sort of got me going with it. Raftery. I had 22. Everybody. Burleson, Walton, Wilkes. You name it. Lynn Shackelford. Everybody on. Now I bring that up to you because you're a little older than me, and your memory and you were on that night staff in the mid '70s and everything else. Is there a particular basketball NCAA moment growing up as a kid in Chicago that attached you to the sport or team?
Yeah, remember you don't remember. They used to have a thing called transistor radios.
Oh yeah, sure, yes.
And I used to listen to the Loyola Ramblers. I can remember listening to the championship game when they beat Cincinnati, and
Wow.
with Egan and Rouse and Hunter and all those guys, and George Ireland, being the coach, and that was a big moment. That's my kind of, I think, the first NCAA moment. It was probably, I think I was a sophomore in high school at that time. And
63.
basketball turned me on at that time. I was starting to become a decent player in it. And then here, right in my hometown, the Loyola Ramblers were playing for a national championship. And
Wow.
yeah,
when did Mike Krzyzewski start thinking about coaching as a career?
Right around that time when I was my junior year in high school, because I had a coach who just passed away in this past year, Al Ostrowski, who I was the best player on it. He believed in me, and I believed in me, but he believed in me more than I believed in me, and he made me better. And I never, my mother believed in me up to a point, and all that, but I said, man, and then I had a teacher who's still alive, Father Rogue, in religion, who explained life to me a little bit more than being this Catholic kid who was guilty of everything. And those two people made such an impact on me that I knew as a junior in high school I wanted to be a high school teacher and coach, because actually I've been afforded opportunities that have given me like a different platform. But that was always I've been doing what I want to do since it was my dream, and I've lived my dream my whole life. And Yeah.
Where would you, we've ranked all these great teams, and, it's hard to put the current teams up there with these, the NC
Yeah.
States, the Walton teams, the Alcindor teams, the Knight teams that you were part of. Is there a particular college basketball team in your youth that you thought was the best team of all time?
Oh no, I don't. I didn't. I didn't follow it nationally. I followed Big Ten and in Chicago. So all I know is the team that Coach Knight had that went undefeated. The year before, actually, when they lost to Kentucky and Scott May broke his wrist, I thought was even better. He could have had 2 years in a row there.
Yes.
Yeah. So when people talk about the one, it might have been 2 unbeaten years in a row. I don't think.
I had
Yeah.
Buckner on, and Buckner said that Knight told him that he made a mistake in that game against Kentucky, that he started May, and he shouldn't have. He should have just, played him off the bench, see what he can do, and play the other kid who sort of had played well when May got hurt, and he took him out of rhythm, and he said he made a mistake in that game. Do you recall that, Mike, at all, or no?
No, I do not. But if Coach Knight said it, Coach Knight had his memory is unbelievable. In that, and if he said that, then that's what happened. And he does analyze to the. That's one of the reasons he was such a great coach. His precision and preparation, and then his critique of his preparation after a game was at the highest level. Even playing for him and then working for him for 1 year, I got to see
how it worked.
A high level, really high level of preparation and critique. And,
last thing, and I know you don't like to do this, but give me a guy that I wouldn't think of in a 1-game sequence from a coaching standpoint. Who is a guy that everybody brings up Tony Bennett, but who is a guy that you have coached against? That's
no,
I'm
not
coaching.
Going to do that.
You're not going to do it. Okay.
No,
I got to ask you, right? I got to ask you.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. That's an answer. One, I don't know. Because I don't. I don't know. I don't think that way. I just think of the team that the person is coaching, and and we've played against some great teams that are coached by a number of different guys. So I'm not. Again, I apologize, but I'm not going to do that.
No, fair. And right now, we'll talk again here before it ends. But right now, you think Gonzaga, pound for pound, might be the best team?
Yeah, I really like them, and they're fresh, they're healthy, and this can be Mark's time, but again, when they do it, it won't be his last time.
I agree with that. You get that first one under the way, you're going to win 4 or 5 more. I definitely think there's some truth to that. Mike, good to have you with us again.
Okay.
Stay loose. We'll get you soon. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thanks, Chris. All right.